What do you know about me? Like an Atreides.
I've been told I was one.
For all I've done.
What's good, people? Oh, we're back with a new video. This video, like, we just recently got the new Dune Part 3 trailer, and we're gonna do a breakdown. We'll do a breakdown for you guys so we can really break down what we're seeing in this actual trailer in itself. So it starts with the war song. Hell, isn't it? And this time they're whispering it. A lot of people they really love the war song. Hell, isn't it? But I love the way they started it with a bit of a whisper, like hell, isn't it? Ooh, and those whispers is kind of as though they're brewing up war. Like war is coming, war is on the horizon. And Shani's like, I trusted you. Like Shani's in shock with everything going on. She's already betrayed that probably fact that he's out here taking a wife in Princess Arula. And already that probably happened. She ran away after that. But this one's even more serious now. The fact that now he's Paul Atreides, an emperor, and using the Muad'Dib, almost using her own culture. Because she was like you belong to us. You were supposed to be for us. What's all this? And seeing where he's gone now, she feels a bit betrayed. She feels a bit like, what on earth am I dealing with now? This isn't the man that I love. And it shows what the power is really doing to him. Like the power is getting into Paul Atreides, where he's right now, just he's unstoppable. And then he also shows him with his kids now. His two kids, and this is very interesting in itself. He's got two kids here, a girl and a boy, who would normally be in the next episodes of Dune. Now this is just gonna be about Dune Messiah. So this is what they'll depict, but that would be the next chapters going further. If we ever get those movies anytime soon. So a lot of this happens, and then you see him kind of, it shows Paul Atreides and he's like, what do you know about me? I think he's probably referring to somebody else, I believe, which will be Height. We'll go on to that later, but they kind of using that in the trailer just to respond to, I guess, Shani saying, what on earth is this person? And it's really Paul Atreides now as the emperor. And a lot of these places are getting destroyed, and going further now, I think Height is starting to, he's starting to speak, and he's really saying, you've destroyed all these lands, all these worlds. A lot of people have died under your name, under this jihadi name, under this Muad'Dib, Paul Atreides. Like, a lot of these worlds have been destroyed. They've justified to destroy a lot of these worlds because of Paul. So this is what this Height, who also is, they're using him for Duncan Idaho to really sway Paul in itself. Like this is to throw Paul off guard. Paul will see uh, Duncan Idaho in him and feel like, who on earth is this? And I think this is meant to throw Paul off in terms of making sure they can take him out. And Paul's really listening to this guy. Like, he knows what the situation is now, and he's like, he's interested. He seems as though he's intrigued and hype on what they're on. And you see that they're going into battle themselves. A good combat in this trailer, and this look crazy. We're seeing Paul in action already, and I'm lit. I'm lit for this. Like, this is something that I was very excited to see. And then on top of that, now the fact that I is now telling him, look, you're beyond redemption. Telling him that, like, this ain't looking good for you. I don't see you changing your ways. Because Height is really, as he stated in this trailer, he's like, I'm here for peace. And they're basically saying Paul Atreides is the problem for that peace right now. So he's really looking for that. And on top, now they show his ops, Erul and Saitail. Princess Arula being his wife, but she and the Benedictine, of course, they're trying to take down Paul. They've been trying to take down Paul for the longest now. And you see that, Erul's a bit like, what you doing? And Sight, who's played by Robert Pattinson, and is stating to him, new character, by the way. He's saying to him, "No, I'm about to take down Paul, really." And like Princess Ruler's like, "Are you an idiot? Like that's a death wish." Clearly, it's because he's the emperor right now. Like he got a whole gang of people that are taking down anyone who goes against him. So it's interesting to see the other side of that because at first we see Saitel in the first trailer like he's a big up that we need to be afraid of him. But really, like Princess Ruler's letting him know, like, look, Paul ain't the one. Paul ain't the one. So we see that as well. And also now the fact that, it shows Paul stating that he found someone, you know. I don't know if that's at the beginning where they're referring to him being the husband of Princess Irula. I'm not too sure. They don't say too much there, but it really, you see Shani upset. I believe it's over potentially the fact that he got married. Who knows? Or even just the war, him being the emperor, which is just it's crazy, So that's a big thing there. And then you then see the big blow. This big blow is very significant as you see Paul Atreides is he ain't got no he can't be seen. Like bro won't be able to see. That's why this big blow in itself is important. And with that, you also see Paul stating that, the future has a way of talking to me, but I can't see ahead. The future has a way of talking to me, but I can't see ahead. Why is that? Well, Paul ends up getting blind from this big bang. Spoiler alert. By who what side tail constructs, and this is why he loses his sight, but he can still have the ability to use his powers to still navigate around, but he can't see the future no more. And this is what basically Shani is like. Well, you just human like us, I suppose so. She don't even feel sorry no more. I feel like she's been so hurt from Paul, she don't even care. And even just on top of all that situation altogether, you see that, normally when this happens to a Fremen, when they can't see no more, they just go to the desert and go off. But Paul, he still feels like he's got his power, so that's necessarily not the case for him. So that in itself is very interesting. You then see his sister. It looked like, Elia seems like she's trying to crash out. So she's trying to crash out on a Bene Gesserit. It shows like a Bene Gesserit who must have been plotting on Paul, and she's like she's just been in full on blood, and she's looking like she's trying to crash out. So that's going to be interesting to see, say the least, as well in terms of her own role. She's going to have a big role being Paul's sister, so that will be interesting as well. That dynamic. She's very loyal to Paul, so it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out as well. And Paul admires height because clearly, when when Paul's like you really don't have no fear at all. He admires that, and Height's like I fear disloyalty. And Paul was like, just like a really, just yeah, man, you just like a really treat it easy. He raises people and he has that fond for him. And it turns out as though after all of this, you know, Height kind of regains his memory because you see him just jumping out in the middle of nowhere. It seems as though him and Paul, they're down for the smoke. They're fighting. Paul probably he can't even see, but they fighting, bro. They fighting. So that might be what we're seeing there right after the big blow. And the last part is really when, Paul is saying, forgive me for all I've done. And I think that must be referring to all the deaths, all the lives that has been taken under his name. And he's really trying to really make amends. At this point, he probably can't see. He's trying to really just push forward, push a positive light before handing over to his kids the whole the whole movement, you know. And this is very interesting. Like this trailer was absolutely phenomenal. The first one was just spectacular. This one's phenomenal as well. And they're really trying to put a big case against the Avengers Doomsday for that day for people who really want to watch because that after seeing that second trailer, it's a no brainer that I'm definitely gonna be tuning in. I'll definitely be tuning in because that was too late. It was too late to say the least. So I'll be hyped up for that. But oh yeah, we can't wait for more of this. So definitely, guys, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe for more of those breakdowns. They're all coming in. So definitely, guys, stay tuned.